run, and it starts with Kansas State today.
Oklahoma with an explosive showing last week on offense. Dede Westbrook had 3 touchdown receptions, all of them for 40 yards or more. But a big developing story here. We are told that he will not start today for the Sooners.
Well, as of 3 o'clock yesterday, local time, he was in the starting lineup. So between then and now, something changed. We don't know what. They're not saying what it is. We don't know if he will play soon after he is out of the lineup or if he's done for a while. No clue. We'll watch and see what happens. But he's been the best player on that offense the last 2 weeks. 5 touchdowns, 17 catches. Having him out of the lineup is a huge, huge loss for Oklahoma if it's for an extended period of time.
Yeah, he's the reigning Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week. Kansas State winning the toss, deferring to the second half. The Sooners will get the football first. Last year up in Kansas, the Sooners perhaps played one of their best games of the season, winning 55-0. This is Joe Mixon, found an alley, and Mixon all the way out to the 38-yard line, giving them good starting field possession on the opening drive. It'll be 1st and 10 there for quarterback Baker Mayfield, a 6'1" junior out of Austin, Texas. Had a big week last week. 413 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He was 43 of 60 against the Longhorns.
Finished 4th in the Heisman voting last season. Is having another good season. Really does take care of the football and really can make plays out of the pocket, but is trying to be in the pocket a lot more this season.
On 1st down and 10, he's going to hand it off to Samaje Perine. Perine, the team's leading rusher, brought down by Reggie Walker. And it was interesting that Walker had some comments pre-game and during the week about those Oklahoma running backs. There's Westbrook still on the sidelines on 2nd and 10. The Sooners going quick, and Mayfield running for the 1st down out near midfield at the 48-yard line, brought down by Kendall Adams. And now Westbrook has come into the ball game for Oklahoma.
Well, the fact that he is in after the second play leads you to believe there was some sort of a disciplinary issue. He certainly looked good in warm-ups. He looks healthy, so it's not a health issue for him.
1st and 10. It's going to be Perine again. Broke 1 tackle and makes it down to the 44-yard line. Samaje Perine on pace to become the school's all-time leading rusher, passing the great Billy Sims at some point.
How many names do you have to say when you talk about great rushers at Oklahoma?
There's a procession, a litany of talented tailbacks through the years. Mayfield, Westbrook at the other end, but he overshoots him in the end zone, incomplete. Sets up a 3rd down and 2, and that's the element that Oklahoma didn't have earlier this year, Rod, when Westbrook wasn't quite 100%.
Look, a lot of folks around the program believe that he was only about 50-60% when they played Ohio State, and that had he been 100%, that game would have been different. And he really does open up the field. He is a difference maker who can fly and can make yards after the catch.
3rd down and 2 for Oklahoma. Mayfield on the slant to Westbrook. Got it and picks up the 1st down at the 24. He's a tough cover, Rod. Shelley finally brought him down.
You know, he said that when he was a kid, he used to play a game called Rock Wars, where you throw rocks at each other, and that's how he learned how to dodge rocks, and he developed his elusive ability to run. You never played Rock Wars?
No, not with rocks.
Might have taken a few hits, huh?
Not quick enough. 1st and 10. Yeah, that's a high-risk, high-reward type of game.
Yeah, it is.
That'll make you fast.
Give you motivation, huh?
20-yard pickup, 1st and 10. Perine again. Breaks a couple of tackles all the way down to the 13. There's a flag down on the play, though. There was a missed tackle as well by DJ Reed.
Holding offense, number 78. 10-yard penalty, replay, 1st down.
Let's go downstairs to Quinn.
Dede Westbrook, after that last completion, was forced to come off the field by the officials because his T-shirt wasn't tucked in. Not a good thing when you're sent off for a uniform violation and your head coach meets you at the sideline.
Wow. Uniform police out in full effect.
You know, rough start to the morning. He gets benched as a starter, and then a uniform issue with the T-shirt, and Bob Stoops not happy.
1st and 20. Mayfield swings it complete. That's A.D. Miller with the catch on the far side of the field. Brought down immediately by D.J. Reed. An 11-yard gain on the play.
Well, Kansas State has been pretty solid defensively as they get pushed back to their goal line. They tend to play a lot of zone down here, try to keep things in front, so tackling becomes really critical for them. You can't have missed tackles down here.
#1 defense in the conference so far. Split backs. Out of the backfield, Piron. Great catch and a better move. Samaje Piron. Touchdown Sooners.
Well, Jonesy, it was Piron in space, and he makes Jonathan Durham miss. Actually, that's Duke Shelley, number 8. And we talked about tackling, how critical it is down here, and Shelley couldn't put the brakes on. Piron made him look a little silly, gets into the end zone. Watch the stretch. Yeah, he's in. Gets inside that pylon.
An impressive opening drive by Oklahoma. 7 plays, 63 yards. Piron with the touchdown. His 2nd touchdown catch of his career. They're going to look at this.
The field of touchdown is under further review.
I wonder if the ball was controlled all the way over the line here, Rod. It looked like.
Yeah, well, many players will lose the ball once they break the plane. It's hard to hang on to that thing unless you have really big hands, and you see him here reach it out. I think he breaks the plane before he loses the ball. I think that's a touchdown. He just has to break that plane.
Must be indisputable video evidence to overturn the call on the field. The call on the field was a touchdown for the Sooners. And Piron very elusive and shifty on that touchdown run after the catch. Pretty good for a guy that missed a lot of the spring because of ankle surgery in the early part of training camp.
Well, give a lot of credit to Lincoln Riley, the offensive coordinator, for getting him in that position, setting him up in the open field in the flat one-on-one with Shelley, and liking his chances of Piron beating Shelley, not letting him get that open field tackle.
Going to take one more look at this.
Hey, if it were me in the replay booth, I'm confirming this. I don't need the indisputable. Yeah. To me, he's not out of bounds. That left hand with the football breaks the plane. That works for me.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
There you go. Sooners jumping out to a quick 6-0 lead. Piron mentioning that he had a big week last week in that win over Texas.
How do you feel about a 2-play suspension by Bob Stoops to send a message to your guy? Work for you?
It doesn't really do much, I don't think.
You're tongue-tied on that.
No, let's go back to Adnan. I'll think about that. Adnan?
All right, Jonesy, thank you very much. It is indeed the Taco Bell studio update. Vanderbilt and Georgia on the SEC Network. This is Darius Sims here with the huge return. Can't quite go all the way, although Ralph Webb would punch it in. Just the 2nd touchdown for Vanderbilt in the 1st quarter of the season. They're up 7-0 earlier over Georgia.
The right, Adnan, back here, 7-0. And, yeah, Rod, partner, you gave me something to chew on there as we threw it back to the studio. A 2-play suspension. It's got to be a real minor offense.
Well, yeah, but, you know, when you look back as a player and you see how many games did I start this season?
Right.
You say, wait a minute, I started. missed the first 2 plays. That wasn't a start for him.
I'm going to try and think of a violation that would warrant that kind of suspension. Quinn, what do you got on that?
Yeah. Oh, you want to start speculating when you late for a meeting, late for a lift, late for study hall? It's got to be one of those type of violations, or maybe a repeated offense of something else. 2 plays, though. I mean, really.
Well, Q, I'm assuming it had to be a meeting because he was a starter when we met with him as of 3 o'clock yesterday. So it had to be something after that time, I believe.
And in fairness to him, it might not even be what we are calling a suspension per se. I mean, he didn't start. Regardless, Jesse Ertz coming out as the starting quarterback for Kansas State. 10-20 last week, 104 yards passing in their win. There's a look at some of his numbers on the season. Ertz, a 6'3" junior out of Iowa.
He needs a big game today, and with both his legs, and he's got to make some plays down the field against a secondary that's had its issues this season.
Charles Jones, the tailback beside him. Winston Dimmel sets as the fullback, and they give it to Jones. And Jones out to the 26-yard line, gets 1 on the play.
So Kansas State has to do a couple things today. One, they've got to play keep away, keep the Oklahoma offense off the field. So you want to run the ball some. But the weakness of the Oklahoma defense has been the secondary. That's where teams have taken advantage, as you see Bill Snyder. So you got to make some plays down the field as well. So a lot of pressure on Ertz to make those 2 things happen.
Saw Bill Snyder's record against Oklahoma. They've won the last 2 times they played here at Memorial Stadium. That pass batted down at the line of scrimmage by Austin Roberts, who's getting to start up front in place of Charles Walker. Matt Diamond, also one of those injured defensive linemen for the Sooners, not able to play today. And Rod, you mentioned a plethora, an abundance of injuries for the Sooners, and they did get a couple guys back though.
Yeah, they've been beat up. They're without a couple guys up front and a player on the back end as well, and quick.
3rd and 9.
This is not the ideal 3rd down situation for K-State.
Play clock down to 4. Ertz takes off. He got hit a couple of times and goes down to the 28-yard line. And a very brief 3 and out. Neville Gallimore making the stop for the Oklahoma Sooners along with Jordan Evans. And it's 4th down really quickly. Nick Walsh coming in to punt for the Wildcats from his own 14. Westbrook back at his own 25 for Oklahoma. Walsh averaging a little over 44 yards per punt on the season. Westbrook going to get a chance here. And Westbrook stopped up at the 27-yard line. Just underway here in Norman, Oklahoma. And the Sooners looking for a win here in their conference opener at home. Piron getting them off to a good start when we come back. His 160th win. Now, if he gets it, he would tie Bob Stoops for most wins by an FBS head coach in his first 15 seasons. First down and 10 for Baker Mayfield. Keeps it on the option. An improved pocket passer this year. Picks up 5 yards on the rush as we look at his numbers career-wise.
Yeah, 49 career touchdown passes thanks to Samaje Perine a little bit earlier in this first quarter. 61 total TDs.
And here's Perine again. Stopped up after a gain of about 3 on the play.
You know, that Oklahoma offensive line has gotten much better, as you see Perine limping off right now. But in the last couple of weeks, Jonesy, they've done a lot more, you know, double teams, pulling. I think, you know, their left tackle, Orlando Brown, has been playing well. A huge guy on the left side. 6'8", 340 pounds.
Young man that's done a nice job fitness-wise, getting his body in great condition. Here's Mixon picking up the first down at the 41-yard line. Picks up 5.
You know, he influenced his man up the field. They ran right inside of him, and you know, That's an athletic big guy. It's only a redshirt sophomore.
Wow. Down from 370 pounds when he first arrived on campus here in Norman. Westbrook makes the catch, brought down immediately at the 46-yard line. And Quinta, some good family lineage with respect to Orlando Brown.
Yeah, he wears the size 16s, and he's got the wingspan that his dad did. Longtime offensive lineman for the Baltimore Ravens. Zeus. Seeing this guy in person pregame is something else. He's just a mountain.
Did a nice job this year, too, to run over that left side. This is Mark Andrews getting back on track. He struggled against Texas last week. Makes a nice catch there.
You know, Quinn, Brown is a mountain, and right now he's sort of having his way with Reggie Walker, the defensive end, who basically said the Oklahoma running backs were easy to tackle. Well, he's not been involved in trying to tackle either one of them yet.
It'll be an interesting matchup to watch during the course of the afternoon here. Mayfield completes it to Andrews again. Great move. And Andrews picks up another first down at the 32-yard line. There was a missed tackle by Elijah Lee and an 11-yard gain by Mark Andrews. And this Sooner offense in a nice rhythm right now. Geno Lewis comes into the ball game for Andrews, who will get a breather. First and 10 from the 32. Joe Mixon. And Mixon with a nice burst inside the 20, pushed out of bounds at the 18-yard line, running behind Ben Powers, the left guard. And he picks up 13 as Pirine, still a little shaken up on the sidelines, trying to seemingly walk off a little bit of that pain.
Giving Mixon a few more reps here. And this K-State defense so intent on getting up the field. These draws and inside runs inside of those defensive ends is working for Oklahoma.
Mixon again patiently waiting for a hole that doesn't materialize. He's brought down at the 18-yard line. No gain on the play. Jordan Willis makes the stop. Willis leads the Wildcat defense with 6 sacks this year.
He's one of those guys that likes to get up the field, so he and Walker together coming around the edge. Oklahoma has said, fine, come on up. We're just going to run inside of you. And that's been effective this drive.
Winners with a couple prolific tailbacks in Pirine and Mixon on the season. 2nd and 9. A predetermined quarterback run. Mayfield got one man to beat and pushed out of bounds right around the 10-yard line. He stared right at the safety, Kendall Adams, who pushed him out. 3rd down coming up for Oklahoma. 3rd and 1. Nixon is the deep back. Going to be Mixon off the right side. And he gets enough for the first down. It's going to be 1st and goal. Mike Moore making the stop for Kansas State.
Well, good read by Mike Moore. He was in the right spot in the hole, stepped up, but head-to-head with Mixon. Mixon had a head of steam, and at 6'1" and about 225 pounds, Mixon was able to power for the first down.
Yeah, Mixon, a guy that the scouts say is going to play on Sundays. This is the 11th play of the Oklahoma drive coming up, marching it up and down the field against the conference's #1 defense. Early in the game, Mixon tried to cut it back, was met with resistance. Right at the 7-yard line, Jordan Willis with another tackle, no gain on the play. 2nd and goal coming up for Kansas State.
Well, you're getting into passing situations, and again, Kansas State does not like to play man coverage down here. So I'd look for some kind of combination route by Oklahoma, try to rub a guy off, to drag a couple guys across the middle.
We've got A.D. Miller, number 13, a tall receiver at 6'3". Mayfield, little shovel pass. Touchdown Sooners, Mixon. Boy, they made it look easy, Rod.
It was. And maybe to celebrate his 50th touchdown pass, they ought to give Baker Mayfield a shovel for that shovel pass. Plate that thing. What an athletic move. Nixon leaping over Barnett.
Extra point good, and Oklahoma Sooners, an impressive beginning here at Memorial Stadium in Norman. They lead 14-0. Pirine and Mixon and Mayfield.
More so than AP, Adrian Peterson. You're passing on guys like Joe Washington, Greg Pruitt, Steve Owens.
Joe Washington wore those silver shoes, didn't he? Yeah, that was his deal. Yeah.
But I'm with you on Billy Sims.
Jamel following. And Pringle had a kickoff return for a touchdown last week. Not close this time, brought down at the 11 as we take a look back with our Napa Auto Parts drive recap.
Well, Oklahoma has taken advantage of the aggressiveness of Kansas State. Those ends rushing up the field. They've just run everything back inside of them. Saw Pirine with the 25-yard touchdown run, and then the shovel pass to Mixon also for a touchdown run. But the aggressive Kansas State defensive ends have opened up some running space inside for the Oklahoma backs.
Look at the numbers so far. Oklahoma dominating early. Mayfield has hit his last 7 passes. Ertz completes one here. As we go back to Adnan Virk. What about the Selman brothers, Adnan? Didn't even mention them.
You're right about that, Jonesy. Let's take a look at this smart touchdown play brought to you by Holiday Express. It's West Virginia and Texas Tech. Justin Crawford, consecutive games with touchdowns for the first time. They're seeking their second 5-0 start in the last 10 years. Currently 7-0, Jonesy.
Back to the play, 2nd and 1. Ertz with another completion. All the way up to the 33. Zuber with the catch and run, and the Wildcats with their first down of the ball game on the 13-yard gain.
Well, they need this drive. They need to keep their defense off the field a bit, and they need to get some confidence. We expected them to test the corners for Oklahoma, and they've struggled, and the quick passes have done that the first couple plays here.
Ertz hands it off this time. Nice look back by Justin Silman. And Silman with another first down at the 47-yard line for Kansas State. He picks up about 15.
Hey, Jonesy, take a look right here. Watch the great block you get up front from Johnson, 56, and get some help from Reisner, 71, as they ride the nose guard out of there. That's a really good job of creating some space inside.
Silman had a great season last year for Kansas State. Offense sophomore out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. The right side this time, not much room there. Gains about a yard on the play. Running over Dalton Reisner, brought down by Neville Gallimore for the Sooners.
The part that's missing right now from Kansas State's offense is the quarterback run game. And they probably decided they would bring it in a little bit later. But at some point here, they're going to need to have Ertz involved with his legs, whether that's the power, quarterback draw, but he's going to have to make some plays with his feet for them to stay on the field.
Ertz, a guy that missed pretty much all of last season, was injured, suffered a knee injury in the first game of the year. Just minutes into the game, a flag down on the play. Ertz tore his ACL and MCL in the first game last year.
Did he do that in high school?
71.
In high school?
5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
Sure did. 2 minutes into the season last year. And that was the same ACL that he tore his senior year in high school before the state championship game. Quarterback that redshirted in 2013, played sparingly the following season, and now getting his chance as the man at quarterback. Looking at 2nd down and 13. Keeps it himself. A nice run into Oklahoma territory. Looks like he got enough for the first down with a 13-yard run as we go down to Quint.
Mark, you saw prior to that play, the football actually rolled where the referees had to go corral it and reset it. It is windy today. Wind's out of the south at about 22 miles an hour. It's warm. The wind right now, don't look at the flags up top because down the field, they're not true indicators. I think for the passing game, it's no issue. Maybe for some of these punts and field goals later, the wind could be a factor.
Yeah, interesting, Clint, because that wind looked pretty brisk if you're looking at the flags, but as you said, pretty deceiving. First and 10, Ertz hands it off to Silman again, brought down at the 39. The previous play, Rod, you got a chance to see what you were alluding to in the quarterback run game, and Ertz did a pretty nice job. Looked like a predetermined run.
It was, and he is an effective runner. So if you can get that combination of the quick passes and the outs to the receivers and work the corners and mix in some runs with him, quarterback design runs, you can pick up some first downs. That will help you, and that's what they need right now. They've got to get a score pretty soon here.
Hawkeyes trying to make it 3 wins in a row here. And then
looking for the perfect play, taking their time.
1 second to go on the play clock. Ertz fires, completes it into the boundary. To number 6, Deontay Burton working against Jordan Thomas.
You know, Ertz had only completed 49% of his passes coming into this game. And this is the kind of game that demands that he completes something around 60% or so. A lot of short passes, receivers forcing the corners out there to tackle. You know, not a lot of high percentage passes. He'll have to hit a couple of those, but high percentage is important for this offense today.
They're trying to keep the ball away from that Oklahoma offense. Dimmel in motion. Ertz looking into the end zone and overshoots his receiver Byron Pringle, who was open. He had a step on Thomas, but there's a flag down on the play.
Illegal formation on the offense. More than 4 players in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Replay first down.
It's unusual for Snyder to have a couple of penalties like that, a procedure and legal formation early in the ball game.
And Snyder turned 77 years old last week. That's what he got for his birthday. He said, got a lot of flowers and chocolate chip cookies in my office. From
That's
friends and family.
That's talking to you. Chocolate chip cookies.
If that's his secret. First and 15. Ertz overthrows his receiver again. That was Zuber, who we found earlier in the quarter.
I don't think that's the wind. I mean, Quint mentioned earlier that the wind is not affecting the passing attack. I think he didn't give his receiver 2 plays ago on a chance to go get it, and I think he just missed that one. And they've had that issue on deep passes this season.
Second and 15. Oklahoma coming with a blitz. Didn't get there in time, and Ertz making the pay with a completion to the 27-yard line to Corey Sutton, who beat Jordan Thomas to the ball and picks up 8. Thus, Oklahoma getting a little heat on the quarterback. But good poise by Ertz.
Manageable, much more manageable 3rd and 7 as opposed to what they were facing before. And again, now you've got a choice. If you're thinking 2 downs, you still have the option of quarterback runs in here.
10th play of the drive for the offense. Play clock down to 4 already. Ertz complete at the 18-yard line to Burton. They pick up the first down.
He's got man coverage, and he just runs a quick slant and keeps the corner on his backside. Makes a great catch. And you're talking about Burton, who had a 99-yard or 97-yard kickoff return last week.
51 consecutive red zone trips with a touchdown or field goal. That's number 1 on the FBS. First and 10. with a receiver screen, incomplete. Juggled and almost intercepted. Zuber couldn't squeeze it.
You know, Jonesy, you mentioned the red zone numbers as you take a look at this quick screen out here. It's a little bubble play and couldn't hang on to it. 51 possessions inside and scoring. That's pretty good. Now, the efficiency you look for, what percentage of touchdowns do you get? And they've been just under 70%, right around 70%. So that's a really good number. It tells you whether they're getting field goals or touchdowns. They've come away with points, and they've been efficient down here.
2nd and 10. Ertz kept it and picked up a yard. It'll be 3rd and long as time winds down on the opening quarter of play.
It's a good drive. They've given their defense a chance to rest and figure out what they've done wrong the first 2 series. They've got a chance to put points on the board, and they're still alive.
Yeah, going back to the last 5 quarters, Oklahoma 69-0 advantage. That's the end of the first quarter of play. Crimson and cream, sooner born, sooner bred. And as they say, when they die, they're sooner dead. Back for the second quarter after this. Jones, Rob Gilmore, Clint Pesnick down to the field. 3rd and 9 for Kansas State, trailing 14-0.
And a matchup out there. Looks like single coverage.
Pringle at the top of your screen. Instead, Ertz comes underneath, complete down to the 13-yard line. That's Charles Jones with the reception, setting up a 4th down for Kansas State, a pickup of 5.
Got to kick it, don't you?
Yes, you have to, I think, at this point.
Well, that was the 13th play on this drive. And you'd like to think you'd want to get something out of it, but 4th and 4. And how about Bill Snyder?
Wow,
rolling the dice.
Matthew McCrane, the place kicker, is staying on the sidelines.
Wow. Remember, 51 of 51 in the red zone. I'd take the points right here.
Kansas State going for it on 4th and 4. Wide open. Jones with the first down. And it's 1st and goal. And, man, they turned him loose, a 7-yard gain.
Do you know better to ever question a 70-year-old coach who's been at this a long time? He knew exactly what he was doing.
Oh, that sage wisdom of Bill Snyder, 25 years in Manhattan, Kansas, setting up a 1st and goal.
Certainly, he felt like they needed to get 7 points out of this to hang in there, that he didn't feel good about 3. And
going into the Wildcat formation here. Dimmel going to get ready to take the snap. Takes the snap and goes over the left side. Not much room there. Gang tackled and pushed out of bounds shy of the 5. Ahmad Thomas, the first guy to get there. That was Winston Dimmel.
Well, Dimmel is the fullback. That was his 15th carry of the season. He has 6 touchdowns. He's used in these situations, and he is the son of the offensive coordinator. Hey, Dad, can you hook me up? You getting that end zone?
What's that position meeting like? 16th play of the drive coming up for Kansas State. Longest one of the season. Second and goal. Ertz keeps it. Brought down short of the goal line at about the 2.5. Emmanuel Beal got an arm out there to trip him up. It'll be 3rd and goal.
Well, since you went for it on 4th down before, aren't you thinking 2 plays down here? You've decided you need 7 here. And so you're thinking, what are the plays you need to run? And you see Snyder looking for a timeout right now. He wants to talk about this. This is an important drive for K-State.
Timeout, Kansas State. That's their first charge, timeout and a half.
Kansas State for the first time this afternoon. From Fayetteville, also streaming live on the ESPN app. And watch ESPN. This is the first meeting with both teams ranked in the polls since the 1970 Sugar Bowl. 3rd down here. Dimmel in the backfield beside Ertz.
Look at Dimmel readjust to pick up what he sees as a blitz.
Funky formation. Ertz waltzes into the end zone for the score. And the Wildcats are right back in it. Rod, that was a rather unconventional looking formation there.
Yeah, I love what Dimmel did. He reads the formation and moves over and creates a great block inside to keep Wade from making penetration, which might have stuffed that play. I mean, nice touchdown run by Ertz, but how about Dimmel recognizing the weakness in their offensive formation and getting over and making a critical block?
That's the 4th rushing touchdown of the season for Jesse Ertz. That's the snapshot of the type of drive that the Wildcats need to sustain today. Keeping that Oklahoma offense off the field for a long time. And it's a 14-7 game. He used up 8.5 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, but it was really done by Winston Dimmel. Look at him coming over, finding this, sees the weakness, and this critical block gets Kansas State right back in the ballgame with the touchdown by Ertz.
What if we designed a paint that stood up to the humidity of a shower this steamy? Or
Initial him.
Yes. Make sure the pressure is correct. And there's an interesting nuance that goes on here in Norman. Norman fans, Oklahoma fans, will take Kansas State footballs after the Kansas State team has kicked and scored and passed them all the way up and outside of the stadium, literally discarding the footballs. So that's why they brought 31, I guess, just in case you run out.
So they lose footballs when they come here.
Yes. Yes, a strange little nuance of what happens here.
So they pass them all the way up and over and get rid of them?
They're gone. Never to be seen again. That can get expensive, though, right? Well, unless you're scoring a lot of field goals.
So you bring 31 footballs,
points.
you score PATs and field goals, you might only go home with half of them.
Hey, got to make it part of the budget. Of course, if you're kicking and scoring that much, it's going to be a good thing in the long run. Third drive of the ball game for Oklahoma, who leads 14-7. Mixon in the backfield. Remember, Pirine was shaken up a little bit earlier, midway through the first quarter. Mayfield over the middle, complete at the 43-yard line to his fullback, Dimitri Flowers. The junior out of San Antonio with a first down, 18-yard gain.
Yeah, just spreading folks out, little circle route by the fullback Flowers, and Mayfield on the money with it. And they'll continue to spread out this Kansas State defense and let Mayfield try and pick them apart and then come back running it inside.
Mayfield hits the slant, complete, another first down to Geno Lewis down to the 40-yard line of the Wildcats. Mayfield throwing a dart that time. The guy that last year finished just outside the balloting to make the trip to New York for the Heisman Trophy Award. And with Oklahoma's 2 early losses to Ohio State and Houston, not that much involved in the Heisman conversation again. Hits the pass to Dede Westbrook, brought down by Barnett.
You know, Jonesy, this quick passing attack has virtually eliminated Jordan Willis and Reggie Walker, the 2 defensive ends who put on a lot of pressure. So they're spending their time running towards the sideline, trying to make tackles after the fact. They're not getting anywhere near Baker Mayfield.
And it was Walker, remember, number 51 for the Wildcats, that was quoted on social media this week and in the media period, saying that Pirine and Mixon with the ball right there were easy to tackle. Not that easy on that play as he makes it down to the 25. And there was actually a missed tackle on the play by Dante Barnett and Jordan Willis. Here's a look at the response by quarterback Baker Mayfield. Easy to tackle? Still trying to figure out the cup of coffee and the frog deal right there.
Yeah, well, Reggie Walker was talking to Jordan Willis, and he said, well, Willis told me that they were easy to tackle last year because I didn't play against them, but if they're easy to tackle, cool. I don't think so.
First and 10. Mixon gonna pass. Wide open. Room service, Westbrook. Lincoln Riley had a little smile in his eye yesterday, Rod, when we asked him about potential trick plays.
Look, trickeration always in the game plan, and when the rushing attack works like that, you can have a running back fake a little sweep and throw it out there.
Joe Mixon, who knew? A flag down on the play, and the extra point no good. Looks like we're going to have an offside call here.
Offside. Defense number 10 will replay the try.
They're going to do this again.
There's that dynamic duel just hooked up. A little trickeration, touchdown pass.
Extra point good now. And it's 21-7 after that 5-play, 76-yard drive. Joe Mixon, little tailback option. And Westbrook, what do you know, in the end zone again. 15 points in this there Big 12 opener at home. From the goal line, it's Pringle. A kickoff return for a touchdown last week. Still on his feet. Trying to tack another one on Pringle. They had the angle on him, but a good return down to the 41-yard line as we go back to Adnan.
Thank you very much, Jonesy. Want to update you what's happening at NC State Clemson over on ABC. Wayne Gallman leading rushing the last 2 years for the Tigers and this year. Just his second rush of the game, but you see Dravius right with the hit and Gallman taking the worst of it. Out for the rest of the game, a suspected concussion, although not officially. 3-0 Clemson early in the second. Jonesy?
All right, Adnan. First down and 10, and after the 59-yard kickoff return, Kansas State starting from 41. With a quick receiver screen complete to the edge to Heath. Heath stopped up at about the 32-yard line. Let's take one more look. What was the key on that touchdown?
Well, fundamental breakdown, Kansas State defensively. You have pass coverage, ensure that first. They don't on the back end. They get all hyped up about the rushing attack and let Westbrook run by him. That is a fundamental mistake you don't see Snyder coach teams typically do. Pass responsibility, ensure it. They didn't. They're down 21-7.
2nd and 1. Ertz keeps it himself. Great burst of speed down the sidelines. And tiptoes out of bounds at the 12-yard line. And there's the quarterback run game again helping them out, right?
Yeah, it's that formula we talked about. The quarterback run game and then the quick passes out to force the corners to tackle and cover. And Kansas State has been working that the last 2 series, and it's working for them. That formula is alive and well.
Ertz outrunning DJ Ward that time, one-on-one. Picked up 20 yards. Ertz kept it himself. Was brought down at the 13-yard line by Amani Bledsoe. And Capri Doucette a loss of 2 on the play. Approaching 9 minutes to go in the first half. Mark Jones alongside Ron Gilmore. Quinn Kesselnick down to the field under a luminous sky here on the plains of Oklahoma.
Hey,
Sooners leading 21-7.
We were talking earlier about kicking field goals, and that Kansas State seems to believe, look, that's out the door. They really got to get touchdowns here to keep pace with Oklahoma.
Doing it 3s at a time might not be the formula for success. Jones. Check that. That's Alex Barnes. That's in the ball game. Picked up 6. 3rd down coming up. What do you make of Oklahoma's defense so far? A little bit short-handed, but fill in the blank for me.
I think the last couple series they've struggled. You know, they're missing a couple guys up front. Walker's out. Matt Damone is out. And this defense has been beaten up. They had 5 starters out last week. Kansas State has found the right kind of formula with the quarterback run game to challenge them. I think they're feeling confident right now.
Remember the Wildcats went for it on 4th down last time when they were this deep. Ertz, plenty of time, and now under heat. Got away once. Into the end zone. Incomplete. Up for grabs a couple of times. Pringle and Thomas wrestling for it. Ertz took a hit in the process.
Yeah, Ertz stayed alive, and he's down from the hit he took, but Pringle saved a pick.
Now, Jordan Thomas appeared to have a better shot at it.
Yeah, Thomas is a highly rated NFL prospect. Todd McShay has him projected as a possible first-round pick. And he looked like he was in position to grab this. Watch Thomas as he tries to get this ball, but Pringle comes back and knocks it away. Right there, Pringle gets it out of there. That's a tremendous play by Pringle.
Yeah, he swiped at it there at the last moment. As Ertz back up, and Austin Roberts of the Oklahoma Sooners got the start on the defensive end position tonight. He's shaken up as well.
Well, keep in mind now, Ertz has to come out. You got a 4th down, so you've got to kick a field goal. It's a little tough to bring in your backup quarterback, Hubner, who's been sitting all day, and try and run a 4th down play.
McCrane coming in for the field goal from 25 yards out. 8 of 11 this season. Make it 9 of 12, and Kansas State still pretty proficient in the red zone. But we'll see how Ertz is, and if he's able to continue when we come back on the other side. Little time. And there's an early crew call. I'll tell you.
What do you consider early?
During school nights, it's usually 6:20, 6:30 a.m. It was about that almost this morning. Adnan, what time you up? Back to you.
Jonesy, I'm with you. 7 on a hook around that time. West Virginia and Texas Tech. It's time for Patrick Mahomes to make some magic. This is on 3rd and 29, and he completes to Giles a 44-yard touchdown. Giles' 8th touchdown of the season. 10-7. Mark, back to you.
All right, well, Mayfield certainly got his espresso shots because he was wide awake at kick today, and he's been hot.
Yeah, K-State could use that as well. And Quint, I got to tell you, the game plan defensively for K-State is not working. I think it's time to mix it up.
They've stopped nothing, whether it's the inside zone, the quarterback run, the perimeter game, and then a couple of the gadgets that Lincoln Riley's thrown their way. Where do you start?
First down pressures.
Ertz going into the locker room for Kansas State. That pass by Mayfield, his counterpart complete out near the 40 to Jarvis Baxter. And we've got to keep an eye on that. We'll get a report, I'm sure, from Quint at some point on Ertz.
Well, this defense has to make some plays. They haven't had any stops, and I think you mix it up. I think you got to find some first down pressure, something to force something to happen and try to get a takeaway, because sitting back is not working for K-State.
Nixon sidesteps one tackle and brought down by Mike Moore, along with Willis. No gain on the play. Mike Moore, one of the great stories as we look at the defensive numbers for Kansas State.
We're talking about the top defense in the Big 12, and Oklahoma's offense has had 3 possessions and 3 touchdowns.
It was interesting to hear Coach Snyder, though, still not completely impressed with his defense, although the numbers kind of belie that. Looking for a little more consistency. Mayfield up high and incomplete.
That's his first incompletion since his first pass of the day. He hit 11 in a row in between.
Sets up a 3rd down and 10 for the Sooners. Mayfield, the former Texas Tech walk-on who had a meteoric rise to success in Lubbock, subsequently transferring to Oklahoma, and started here for the last couple of years.
This is when you need Willis to get involved if you're a Kansas State fan.
Keep an eye on number 75 from the edge. Ian Walker with a little heat. Mayfield on the move as a result. And good pressure as you brought up, Rod. That time it was Tanner Wood. And it brings up 4th down now for Oklahoma. So that's a nice defensive sequence for the Wildcats.
Well, he's an NFL prospect. Willis is at the defensive end spot, top of the screen. A little outside move, uses his speed, and that forces Baker out. And that pressure he brought created that situation. So K-State finally gets a stop.
Seibert into punt for the Sooners. Kansas State has a very potent special teams unit. That's Pringle watching it bounce, though. He's back there with Heath, and Heath is tackled immediately. A 44-yard punt, nothing on the return. It'll be first down and 10.
Holding.
And Ertz still hasn't come back out.
That penalty reinforced at the end of the kick. It'll be first down, Kansas State.
Let's see who comes out and takes the snap now for Kansas State. Still haven't seen Hurts come back out of the locker room. That's going to be the backup quarterback, Joe Huebner.
Yeah, Huebner, you see the numbers, 48.7%. And he started this game last year and struggled. They did not throw the ball well against Oklahoma. Actually, they did nothing well last year in that 55-0 woodshed game.
You try and heat him up here, bring a little heat on him? Or?
Well, I think Oklahoma would, but I don't think there'll be a drop-back pass here. I think they'll go run game, and he might get involved with it.
Huebner throws it complete, just shy of the 20-yard line to Zach Reuter. So he completes an 11-yard pass on his first play. Pretty poised.
A nice little start. They faked the quarterback run game, their little cheat play, and then allowed him just to throw behind the linebackers who came flying up thinking it would be a quarterback run.
Huebner did start a bunch of games last year. Back there with Charles Jones as his second completion to Pringle. Trying to tiptoe down the sidelines and push out of bounds just shy of the 25 at the 24 by Obo and Jordan Thomas.
We watched tape of Oklahoma. We saw Ohio State. We saw Houston. We saw Texas all go after the corners. Now, Jordan Thomas has played pretty well at times. Parker, Cobb, and other guys who've been banged up have had trouble tackling in space. And K-State throwing those screens to try to get their receivers to make the corners miss.
On 2nd and 6. Jones, not much room over the left side, running over France and Ash. Stephen Parker there to make the tackle on the gain of 2 by Kansas State. Third down coming up for the Wildcats. Snap for Huebner. Got rid of it. It's going to be ruled a catch, and enough for the first down. What a grab by Dominique Heath.
Well, it's the catch and the spot. He looks like he does get both hands underneath it, but the spot looks like it gives him the first down as well.
Heath came into the game with just 12 receptions. Hands it off. Actually, he passes complete to Isaiah Zuber. I'll tell you what, for a guy that's coming in cold, Huebner's, gotten them out of the shadows of their own end zone and moved it decently.
He's done well. Here comes Ertz back onto the field, and they had that one set up. Had Huebner gotten that ball up a little bit, they had a chance to make some good yardage. So they'll come back to it.
Dana Dimmel, the offensive coordinator, putting Huebner in a position to be successful here. With some quick, makeable passes under duress and sacked back at the 25-yard line by Romar.
Well, they ran a stunt with Okoronkwo coming from the outside in, and that opened up things on the other side, as you see 92 Romar getting in there, but they ran a stunt, confused that line a bit.
Loss of 6 on the play. 3rd and long for Kansas State. Grudner, the pass. Has his man. Incomplete at the 45. Dropped by Zuber.
And he had a first down.
Catchable?
Absolutely. Zuber's out here, has it all wrapped up, but couldn't complete the process and hang on to it as he went to the ground. Yeah, that was a big throw. Grudner knew it, wanted it. That would have been a big 3rd down conversion.
Grudner trying to stay on the field. Instead, it's Nick Walsh with the punt. Westbrook watching it bounce out of bounds at about the 35. Now let's take a look at our blimp-worthy play brought to you by Goodyear. And Pirine with the game's first touchdown. Mixon, the shovel pass. And Mixon again.
A little trickeration to Westbrook. That put him up. 21-10 now. This Oklahoma offense looked like they had it rolling. And you know what? If this Oklahoma team is healthy, they get enough back on defense, the way this offense is rolling, it's conceivable that they could run and win the Big 12. The playoff depends on what happens in other conferences.
Even with 2 losses?
Well, we haven't had a 2-loss team get to the playoffs. So they need another conference champ to have 2 losses to be in that discussion.
Mayfield completes it underneath to Mixon. And Mixon doing some work here, folks. But brought down, good tackle by Mike Moore in the open field. Mixon, the 6'1" sophomore, picks up 22. And since his injury, we haven't seen Samaje Perine. As Mixon getting the bulk of the carries and the catches. Great move. And now putting his hat down to the 22-yard line. A missed tackle by Elijah Lee and Dante Barnett.
Now watch him pull the right guard and the right tackle, lead up, and then Mixon finding the hole back inside. He makes people miss.
Mayfield complete again. This time to the tight end, Mark Andrews. Andrews brought down by Donnie Starks, picks up 4 on the play.
The way Baker Mayfield is handling the pocket and throwing on the move, it doesn't take long for the Sooners to get down the field. He seems to be feeling it and is in much more of a rhythm than he was the first couple of weeks of the season.
We'll hear Lincoln Riley, the offensive coordinator, talk about Mayfield, saying that fun guy to coach. Getting some good results in the last several games, that time to Mixon. Brought down by Jordan Willis. And let's go down to Quinn.
Yeah, clock management right now for Oklahoma is critical here. They got 3 timeouts left, 1:20 to go. They don't seem like they're in a rush, which is good. Kind of milking this clock would be terrific for Sooner fans if they could score and leave very little time on the clock. I'm surprised Kansas State is not using some timeouts here, perhaps.
An interesting point, Q. 3rd and 4. Little receiver screen. Westbrook bottled up well defended that time by the Wildcats defensively. Lee up there to make the initial hit, and 4th down coming up for the Sooners.
Yeah, that's a huge 3rd down stop. That dismisses everything with the clock management trying to get into the end zone here, and now you've got a field goal attempt. That was critical for Kansas State to get a stop there. Otherwise, you're looking at another touchdown from Oklahoma.
Instead, Austin Seibert comes in to attempt this field goal. He's 5 of 8 on the season. This one from 34 yards away. And Seibert is good to make it a 14-point lead for Bob Stoops and the Oklahoma Sooners. Back after this.
Joey Galloway. All that more coming up the half. Mark?
Okay, Adnan. Looking at Ertz on the sideline for Kansas State. Missed that last series. Wildcats will get the football back for a little bit for what's remaining here in the first half. Let's see if he comes back out, and it looks like he will. He was shaken up earlier this quarter on this play.
Yeah, he takes a shot to the numbers. And I don't know if it was the shot or the way he fell, but he didn't play the next series or two after that. And now you think about the third quarter. You see his 7 rushes for 40 yards. He's done well with the quarterback run game and the quick passing game. Kansas State gets the ball to start the third quarter. So maybe just get him used to being back on the field and see what you can do to start the third quarter.
Kansas State won in Norman the last time they played here, 31-30. Down by a couple of touchdowns. First down and 10. Backside pressure on Ertz. Stayed alive. It's up for grabs. And incomplete with 1 second to go. Good pressure that time by Austin Roberts on the backside.
Not a fan. Not a fan of kind of throwing a Hail Mary up there with 12 seconds to go. I mean, what if that gets picked off? That gets picked off and you got problems. You know, going to halftime. Going at halftime, you're down 2 scores. You get the ball to start the third quarter. You've moved the ball the last couple times, and particularly when you had Ertz out there, you can feel good about this.
A little bit of a risky play, you think, with a guy that's just coming off an injury. Didn't play last series. That's the end of the first 30 minutes of play. Kansas State down by a couple of touchdowns. It's 24-10. Right now we're going to head to the studio for our Lexus halftime report.
All right, down the field. And if you're Oklahoma, keep doing what you're doing.
Sooners offense has been prolific all year. Getting stops is what has been the concern at times. And the Wildcats going to get an opportunity. Pringle, the reigning special teams player of the week in the conference, out to the 22. Q, what did Coach Snyder have to say?
Tackling and getting pressure on the quarterback, critical keys and things that need to change in the second half if Kansas State's going to have any chance in this ball game. He said they've tried to change their pressure packages, but he said Oklahoma's done a nice job of picking that up and then going to the quick game. You know, when you point to Bill Snyder and the formula for winning, turnovers, special teams, non-offensive touchdowns, they've gotten none of those today.
Yeah, and they've feasted on that since 1999 more than any other team in big-time college football. First down and 10 from the 21. Ertz way off, incomplete, intended for Winston Dimmel. I mean, he missed that one by a bunch. And looks over at the sideline. You wonder about his health.
Yeah, he may not be right. Yeah. And he was so far off on that one. Yeah, it's a good thing he waved himself off the field.
I mean, he missed this by a bunch.
Watch this throw. He's not even close. He's off by 7-8 yards. So whatever is bothering him is on that right side.
Hubner back in. He played the majority of the second quarter. Tipped up and incomplete. Good slant intended for Dominique Heath. And it'll be third down coming up. There's a look at Hubner's numbers from the first half.
Yeah, he threw the quick game pretty well. They did not really run him. He is a pretty good runner. Don't expect that third down here. This is a tough situation for K-State. They're not really third and long, drop back passing kind of team.
Hubner, and he misfires, incomplete at the 40, intended for Deontay Burton. And it's a quick 3 and out, using up 20 seconds on the clock to start the third quarter for Kansas State.
And that all started with Ertz and the apparent continuation of his injury. You see him there talking about, I tried to throw it straight, and it went to the right, so I don't think I'm right.
Fourth down and punt by Walsh. Tackle made on Westbrook at the 38-yard line, a 40-yard punt. Nothing on the return. Change of plans for the Wildcats at the quarterback spot when we come back. Prairie located right in the heart of campus. Great reading room known for its beautiful Gothic architecture.
Good to see everything isn't online. Man.
Yes. Yeah, they actually
Still
go to
have
libraries.
Yeah.
Hard books. First down and 10. Mayfield, quick three-step drop. Westbrook at the other end of that pass, right near the first down marker, working against Duke Shelley.
Great anticipation. He threw that 2 or 3 yards before Westbrook made his move to the outside. You heard Quint talk about the lack of pressure on Mayfield. He's getting the ball out very quickly.
First down and 10 after the catch. Mixon in the backfield. With a 12-yard gain. It's Mixon over the left side. It's been Mixon since the middle of that first quarter. Quint, what's up on Pirine?
Well, if fans weren't with us, he limped and hobbled off the field in that first half. The training staff looked at his right ankle and then his right knee. He still remains on the bench. He's in uniform, but his shoelaces are untied. He's got no helmet. There's no ice anywhere near him. I think if he were needed, he could play, but otherwise, he's going to sit this one out.
Second and 10 for leading rusher on the sidelines. Mayfield, wide open. Westbrook couldn't catch it. It was thrown behind him. And they both wish they could have that one back.
We've seen Westbrook run free earlier and kind of another blown coverage. You look over there, Shelley gets turned around, has no clue which way Westbrook is going, and this ball is just thrown behind him. Wow. And Mayfield could have put it more towards the middle of the field and let him just walk towards it and stroll into the end zone.
You saw the tail end of Mayfield's reaction after that near miss. Third and 10 as a result. Mayfield incomplete. No flag on the play. Mark Andrews, the intended receiver, and what could have been a touchdown. Series ending with Mayfield limping off the field.
Yeah, K-State brought pressure, and I thought that as Mayfield stepped up, the pressure limited how far he could step up, and I thought he took a little awkward step there.
That's a win for the Wildcats defensively. Just underway here in the third quarter. Each team has had the ball once. Fair catch called right near the 10-yard line by Dominique Heath. Hey, folks, tonight, J.T. Barrett and number 2 Ohio State taking on number 8 Wisconsin at 8 Eastern on ABC. Streaming live on the ESPN app and watch ESPN. Urban Meyer looking for his 160th win. If he gets it, he tied Bob Stoops for most wins by an FBS head coach in his first 15 seasons. As we take a look at our AT&T top 10 poll.
Hey, check it out. You got 4 Big Ten teams in the top 10. 4 of them. And Ohio State arguably might be the best team in the country. I know, sacrilegious not to have Alabama number 1. Possibly.
This is Jones with a nice juke for the first down. Who are you taking tonight between Wisconsin and Ohio State? We saw Lee put the Buckeye headdress on.
Well, if Ron Dane is in the house and they brought all the other stars back, Wisconsin can keep it close, but I like that Ohio State team. I think they're really good. And I think people haven't quite picked up on how good they are. Like Alabama big, too, over Tennessee.
First down and 10. Tennessee has been involved in some miraculous finishes this year. Jones over the left side. Put a straight arm on Ahmad Thomas, but he picked up 7 on the play. Jones last week had 128 yards and a touchdown in that win against Texas Tech.
Well, he only had a couple of touches in the first half. Good to see Kansas State come out in the second half and stay with the rushing attack. I mean, they need that combination to help their defense. They've got to stay on the field and have another long drive like they did in the first half.
Second and 3. Bubner, the backup quarterback in, hands it off to Dimmel, and Dimmel brought down right at that first down marker. Let's see where they spot it. They're going to give him the first down. Gain of 3. Ertz on the sideline. Hurting on that right side. Motioning towards the right side of his body when he's speaking with the coaching staff and the athletic training staff a moment ago. It would appear to be Huebner's game from here on in. And he takes a shot. Pringle. A flag down. The pass incomplete at the 39. Pringle and Thomas wrestling for the ball.
Pass interference. Defense number 7. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Pringle working against Thomas, gets by him. Ball is underthrown as if it's a back shoulder throw, and Thomas gets flagged there. Thomas, a really good corner. As I mentioned before, he's projected as a high draft pick by our Todd McShay in next spring's draft. But the corners have struggled much of the season for Oklahoma, and Kansas State just hasn't been able to take advantage of it.
Oklahoma's had 18 different starters on defense this early in the season. Huebner tripped up, seemed to be a little hesitant. Brought down at the 44-yard line by Gallimore.
And Gallimore is in for Walker, and he doesn't get fooled by the little cheat play where there's a little hesitation by the quarterback. He gets into the backfield, isn't falling for it, makes the tackle.
Second down coming up.
We mentioned earlier, 3 starters out for the Oklahoma defense this afternoon. They were missing 5 last weekend.
Jones in the backfield. Open down the sidelines. That's number 4, Dominique Keith. Nice move to pick up the first down against Jordan Parker. And Huebner moving the chains.
Well, Jones, it's what we talked about. One-on-one, corners tackling in space. Parker doesn't handle Heath very well out there, and he picks up a first down. That's been the formula that teams have used against Oklahoma. They've challenged the corners to tackle and to play the deep ball.
And Texas had some big plays, explosive plays against that defense last week in a high-scoring game in the Red River rivalry. Huebner one-on-one, brought down at the 37-yard line by Obo. Picks up a couple on the play. Running that clock. Approaching 10 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Very deliberate offense, and you'll see them when they come to the line of scrimmage. Jones, they look for the perfect play. They check out the defense. They look to the sideline. What's the adjustment? What's the play you need to run?
Second and 8. Jones over the right side, brought down on the 32 by Neville Gallimore. Got 5, sets up a third down and about 3 to go. I wonder if this is 4-down territory for Kansas State. They went for it a couple times already on 4th down. On the fringes of field goal range.
I think you're right. I think Snyder looks at it that way.
Jones. Somebody lost a hat down there. Jordan Wade made the tackle on Jones. And Wade is going to have to come off the field. He lost his helmet. 4th down coming up, and Huebner staying on the field.
Well, you called it. I mean, Snyder went for it on a 4th down in the first quarter, and that ended up being the right decision as they picked up a touchdown on that drive. And here's a 4th and 2.
1 for 1 on 4th downs today.
Confidence in the quarterback run game. The quick passing game has worked to the outside as well.
And Oklahoma's going to call timeout. We'll take one with them.
Timeout.
And while we're away, I want to let you know when we come back, folks, we're going to go up. We're going to go all the way up.
Awesome.
Tell you what a great scene earlier at kickoff, right prior to kickoff, as those planes, those 18-6G planes flew overhead, part of our backstage access.
That was awesome.
4th and 2 on the field. Huebner piloting this offense, incomplete. and the Sooners will take over on downs. It was intended for Byron Pringle, and that pass was nowhere close to him.
Yeah, well, credit to Jordan Parker. He did a nice job out there in Pringle. He's in press coverage. He rides him, stays with him. A little hand fighting. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. That's a good play out there by the freshman corner.
That pass didn't even get in the vicinity where Pringle could potentially make a play on it. But this Sooner defense, which has been beleaguered in the early part of the season, besieged by injuries, survives there. Kansas State now 1 of 2 on 4th downs. 1st and 10 coming back the other way. Mayfield hands it off to Mixon. Mixon pushed out of bounds by Kendall Adams, but a nice gain on the play of 8 yards. Well, that's a really potent partnership they've got in the backfield when Perine's healthy along with Mixon.
Well, yeah, you're right. I mean, Mixon complements him. He can run inside. He can catch the ball.
Run it again, and Mixon getting another opportunity, stopped up right at that 1st down marker.
You know, I just feel like Kansas State defensively, they have to take some chances on the early downs. They've got a 3rd and 1 here. If Oklahoma converts it, I just think 1st down, you got to get a negative play. You got to bring a little bit more pressure. You've got to find out about Mayfield's mobility since he limped off the field that last series. They'll be a little bit more aggressive.
3rd and 1. And 1st down there from Mixon. You know, I want to get back to our little flyover and going part of our backstage pass. What a great scene. I want to thank our pilot, Colonel Paul Mackey, a retired 125th Fighter Squadron member, the Oklahoma National Guard military fighter pilot, and helping us out yesterday, getting Q and our producer up in the plane. And I'll tell you what, he was in control that entire time. Andrews with the reception. You know, Quinn had that nice that Top Gun look. Very Tom Cruise up there.
Oh, he's upside down. Look at Maverick go.
No reaction, though. Just, oh, there it is. Hey, Q, what are those G-forces like?
3 G's, my man.
2nd and 2. Adams now on the carry. Quint, what was it like up there? How many thousand feet up were you?
Around 2,200 feet, or 1,000 feet higher than the stadium. Just invigorating to think, you know, those planes were used as training planes during World War II that the pilots would train on before flying the real fighters. Just amazing to do loops and spins up there, and we had a high-speed approach at a runway. To think that you're being chased or shot at, just I have so much respect for those fighter pilots.
Yeah, great job. Looked like a lot of fun up there.
Looked like he was in control. He had it. Way to go, Q.
Thank all our military and retired military. Pass complete. Number 83, Baskin, with his 1st reception of the ball game, and another Oklahoma 1st down.
And Dante Barnett feels like he gave one away. I mean, he read that perfectly. He's been having a great ball game, leading tackler, and he stepped in front but missed it.
Oklahoma going quick. Adams on the carry, and Adams with a nice gain. And yeah, it was DJ Reed last week that jumped one of those out patterns against Texas Tech and took it back for a pick 6. Barnett almost had one there, Rob.
Yeah, that could have changed everything in this ball game. K-State needs a non-offensive touchdown, whether it's special teams or defense. They need something to steal a possession and steal some points.
Under 6 minutes to go in the 3rd. Mayfield. Intercepted by Barnett. That's the one that he almost got last time. Shelley picked it off the tip by Barnett. So, Rod, your crystal ball working in full effect here.
Well, stolen possession here. You have Mayfield on the roll trying to throw back, and a really good play getting that ball knocked out. Barnett, who didn't come up with it first time in the last.
Rear, that's Mike Stevens, who goes 28 yards to the house. Extra point is good. It's 10-all right now, early in the 3rd over on ABC, Josie.
Clemson made it to the championship game last year. Kansas State trying to take advantage of that interception a moment ago. 1st and 10 from the 15. Jones picks up 3. Let's go back to the interception, Rob. What was the pivotal point here?
Well, great play by Barnett, who's right here. And then you'll also see the heads-up play by Shelley. They're playing kind of a quarters coverage. Barnett jumps all over this seam route and makes this play. But look at Shelley get back into it. Pretty good teamwork. Having your eyes open, zone coverage. Great job.
Barnett get there a little early?
No.
I expected you to say that.
Come on. Ball's in the air. You got a right to go get it. Right to go get the football.
I knew what was coming. 2nd and 8. Huebner off the play fake. Downfield. Threw it behind his intended receiver and broken up by Jordan Thomas. Deontay Burton.
Well, Burton was never open. Thomas is all over him and just timing this out. Now you see that right hand? You can put your right hand on a receiver. If you turn him and impede him, that's pass interference. People make the mistake of thinking that some kind of contact is pass interference. It is not.
That's a great distinction.
Yes.
3rd down and 8. Play clock down at 0, and Huebner didn't get the play off in time.
Delay a game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
And that's going to move it back a bit. Snyder, 25 years at Kansas State. Bob Stoops used to be on his coaching staff. 3rd and 13. Gets out of the end zone. Incomplete. No flag. The pass intended for Jones, and some good heat by Obo. And he was almost there to get a sack.
Yeah, and that's pressure really with 4. Oklahoma turning up the heat, their front 4, and really it's a tremendous effort considering how banged up Oklahoma has been up front. 2 of their defensive line starters out today.
Wheeler now bunting. High spiral, and Westbrook watches it bounce. And Karams down to the 44-yard line. Oklahoma going to have good starting field position. 1st and 10 from there after the 44-yard punt. Folks, time now for our Aflac trivia question. Who are the 3 active head coaches with the most FBS wins?
So you're talking about guys who've been around a long time, and you're looking at one guy right now in Snyder. I would imagine that he's in the mix.
Got to be. He was running a very successful program there at Manhattan, Kansas. Has really been able to foster fantastic relationships with a lot of JUCOs in the area.
You know, he gave Bob Stoops his starting coaching.
Yeah.
And Stoops credits him for that. Without that break, he wouldn't be the guy he is right now.
Gaping hole for Mixon. And Mixon picks up 14 yards. Finally brought down by Kendall Adams as we revisit our Aflac trivia question.
Does that mean you have an answer?
We're going to wait. We're going to wait. People ruminate that for a little bit. 1st and 10. Mayfield stands in the pocket and delivers. And there's a flag on the play. Geno Lewis took a big hit from Kendall Adams. And now some residual hostilities. Bob Stoops irate about something there from the sidelines. Kendall Adams drilled Geno Lewis. Long discussion here by our officials, and if there was a targeting involved here or what the call was.
Well, he leads with that left shoulder and gets him up high. Now, you know, for targeting, you need, in this instance, a defenseless player, and he's being tackled. I don't know that you would regard him as defenseless here.
There is no foul for targeting.
Yeah. He's not defenseless in that position. You can still flag for a personal foul, unnecessary roughness, if you believe that's appropriate. But that is a lead with the shoulder, and you've got the receiver falling down. So it's appropriate that it's not flagged as targeting. But, you know, it raises a question. A lot of folks, anytime you see a hit that high,
right,
the question becomes, do you want that in the game? And so there are a lot of coaches who are saying, you ought to flag that anyway. You know, just because it's up high, because you want to penalize those things. But under the rule, you wouldn't flag that as targeting.
2nd and 2. Mayfield incomplete, intended for Lewis again. 3rd down and 2. Oklahoma offense hasn't been able to find any rhythm in this 3rd quarter.
Just off a little bit. You know, they've missed a couple things. They missed a wide open Westbrook for a possible touchdown, and then you had the pick when Barnett made the great play, knocking it up for his buddy Shelley. So just a little bit off on a couple of big throws for Mayfield this quarter.
Oklahoma 5 of 8 on 3rd down today. Mixon with nowhere to go, and a big surge and huge play defensively by Jordan Willis.
Pressure. And we talked about Kansas State mixing it up and bringing more pressure, because in the first half they got nowhere with their base defense, and now they've turned up the heat on some 1st down pressures, 3rd down pressure there, and made the play. You got a 4th down, maybe too long for the field goal here for Oklahoma.
And they're going to go for it. Baker Mayfield still on the field. They're 0 for 4 on 4th down conversions this year.
I would expect pressure again from Kansas State here.
Mayfield down the middle of the field. Westbrook. Who else? Mr. Reliable with the catch of the 14.
That's as good a throw as you will see. Man under coverage. He throws it over the head of Stark and in front of Barnett behind him. That was dark. That'll get you Heisman vote.
Yeah.
Last year and this year.
That's their first conversion on 4th down all season.
Talk about putting that football in a small window.
Underneath, Nixon. Brought down right around the 10-yard line by Mike Moore.
Jonesy, watch the window here. There's not much space to get this ball in there. Starks is in front. And you had to squeeze that thing in there, and Baker Mayfield really did squeeze that one in.
An improved pocket passer this year. He bristles at the mention of him being a quote-unquote dual-threat quarterback.
Or isn't he?
That's the way some people see him, yeah. He's not quite enamored of that perception. Passes it to Adams, and Adams brought down right at the 8-yard line. Well defended by Duke Shelley. Under 2 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. Oklahoma hasn't put it in the end zone or even scored points here in the 3rd period.
Well, if you think back to the 1st quarter, when they got down to this territory, they were able to use the shovel pass. They were able to get P. Ryan out in the flat. So they have a short passing attack they can use down here that's been effective in this ball game.
Mayfield 21 of 27 for 240 yards. Got to get to the 4 for the 1st down. Comes underneath. Westbrook. He doesn't lose any foot races. Touchdown, Sooners. Let's go.
Jonesy, just a crossing route from the right side to the left against a zone defense. Everybody passed off Westbrook, and he had a head of steam. And good blocking on the far left side of the end zone by the receivers.
8-yard touchdown catch by Dede Westbrook. Extra point is good. And they're up 3 touchdowns. Westbrook continues to rack up those TDs.
I'm going across the field. You cannot stay with me.
He might be the fastest Westbrook in this Oklahoma area, if you know what I mean.
Well, basketball reference.
Oh, yeah. And coverage begins with Monday Night Countdown at 6. Also streaming live on Watch ESPN. Well, Larry Fitzgerald continues to do his thing. Seems like just yesterday we were calling his games at Pitt. He's a prolific wide receiver there.
Can't say that you were surprised with what he's done in the league.
Not at all. Not at all. From the 7, it's Pringle. Up down at the 20-yard line. Let's go back to Adnan in the studio.
All right, Jones, you just want to update you on what's happening between Vanderbilt and Georgia over the SEC Network. This is Jacob Eason to Isaac Nada. Eason's got 9 passing touchdowns. Only Shane Bichelle has more among freshmen. And also Pitt and UVA. A pick 6 here. This is Jordan Whitehead. Plenty of running room here. He'll go 59 yards all the way to the house. 35-20 right now. The Panthers have the lead at the half. Jonesy, Rod, back to you guys.
Okay, Adnan. 1st and 10 for the Wildcats from their own 19-yard line. Ed Hubner in at quarterback, replacing Jesse Ertz, who was shaken up in the 2nd quarter. Tried it again in the 3rd quarter, unable to go, and went to the sidelines. Let's revisit our Aflac trivia question. The 3 active head coaches with the most FBS wins. Reveal, please.
Nick Saban. I guess we could have guessed that one, but Snyder and Stoops, people forget how long Bob Stoops has been at Oklahoma.
Really?
And remember, he was a graduate assistant for Bill Snyder at Iowa back in the day.
Pass complete to Burton. Yeah, he talked about Stoops did taking a little bit of a pay cut to be able to coach his own group, his own core of players.
Well, what he did was he was running the scout team for Snyder, as Snyder was the offensive coordinator, and then he left and went to Kent State as an assistant coach, and then Snyder brought him to Kansas State when he got that job, and he took a pay cut to go work with Snyder.
And Stoops had some good DBs at K-State back in the day. Chris Canty, one of them, played in the league for a while. Backside heat, sack at the 18 by Obo. And a very good way to punctuate 3 quarters in the book so far for the Sooners. They lead by 21 points, 31-10. As they look for a win here to break the trend of visitors winning in the last 5 games between these 2 teams. 15 minutes to go when we come back.
10/8/15, Monday on ESPN.
Welcome back, everyone, to ESPN College Football, presented by Exxon and Mobil. Under now cloudy skies here in Norman, Oklahoma. Kansas State with the football down 21 points. Looking at 2nd and 22. And the number 2 quarterback in the ball game, Joe Hubner. Almost intercepted. The route jumped by Will Johnson. Incomplete.
Hubner is fortunate that this wasn't picked off. And that window was not open. Not open. And Kansas State has struggled offensively since Ertz was banged up late 2nd quarter. The quarterback run game has pretty much gone away. Only the quick passing game has been there, but not as effectively. 3rd and 22. That's a challenge. It's a real challenge for this offense.
Hubner downfield, found his man at the 44-yard line. Pringle at the other end of that pass, and things seemed to just stop on the field, and Pringle got the ball somehow.
It was like everyone kind of fell asleep back there. That 27-yarder to Pringle, that's the biggest pass play of the day for K-State. It just looked like you have Oklahoma players who can't believe the ball's actually in the air.
Right? Ball at the 45.
It's a good throw.
Alvin Warmack in the backfield. Pass complete to the edge to Heath. Good open field tackle by Stephen Parker, the safety. 6'1" junior out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tulsa's got some pretty good in-state football. It's a good game between Norman North and I think the rival team from Tulsa last night. The Stoops boys were part of the winning side for Norman North.
He's got 2 twins, I believe, who are players being recruited. I don't know if Oklahoma's recruiting them, but certainly other places are recruiting them.
2nd down and 8. Hubner going to keep it himself. Here's the quarterback run game. He doesn't seem to have the suddenness that Ertz does. Jordan Parker pushed him out of bounds after the 4-yard gain. 3rd down coming up for the Wildcats.
Well, I think you're right. And they clearly went away from quarterback design runs when they lost Ertz. And his offense has been kind of off since then. That formula of the quarterback run game, the quick passes outside, that's when they were at their best today. And they haven't had that since the 2nd quarter.
Here we go on 3rd and 4.
Make that 3rd and 9.
Yeah.
Ball start. Offense, number 56. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
That penalty against Terrell Johnson. Johnson and Dalton Reisner, a couple of guys on that offensive line, were talking about payback this week for that 55-0 pasting that they took last year up in Manhattan, Kansas. 3rd and 9 coming up. Hubner has plenty of time, but nobody open until maybe now. Great pass and catch. Touchdown, Kansas State, Dominique Heath. Hubner bought himself enough time for the touchdown. 54 yards as he got in behind Jordan Thomas.
Well, Hubner extended the play, and as he extended the play, there you see Jordan Thomas up top. He's playing the quarterback and lost sight of Heath completely. And he's thinking about Hubner maybe running with the football and just lost where Heath was, and Heath did the right thing and took off for the goal line, and so all of a sudden he got a touchdown and almost the entire 4th quarter to go in a 2-possession game.
What about that 3rd touchdown catch this season for Heath, the 6th of his career? And that was a career-long reception. There was a flag down on the extra point. And as you said, Rod, this is just a 2-score game now, with plenty of time remaining.
Well, and when you look at Oklahoma defensively and their injuries and those poor plays, that's the thing that makes you question whether they can win the Big 12, whether they'll be in the hunt come late November.
The extra point good after the penalty.
Extending the play, Hubner finding Heath down, and all of a sudden Kansas State, it's only 2 possessions, not over yet.
On the ESPN app and watch ESPN.
Now, Bucci would love this environment.
Oh.
He would love this crowd and the way they handle things.
And football is one of the interesting side storylines. You know, Kansas State actually brought 31 footballs to the game, and you'd think that's an inordinate number, an excessive number. Well, there's a good reason for that, folks. They take them into the officials to get ID'd. After a Kansas State extra point or field goal, the Oklahoma fans here at Memorial Stadium pass the ball all the way up, and the tradition here is to throw them right out of the stadium, even if it takes 2 attempts, Q.
I love it.
Right?
This is the actual ball, Jonesy. They're not traveling light because Oklahoma, showing great sportsmanship, has someone planted outside the stadium, a staff member who actually gets the ball and runs it back inside.
Wow.
That's big-time sportsmanship. So you guys still got your 31.
Yeah, what a sense of community, though, to get together and throw it out of the stadium. Sort of like the Cubs and the home run ball, huh?
Yeah, a little more backstage access for you. One of the great nuances of college football. And Mixon, boy, he got knocked right there by Lee.
Hello, says Mr. Lee.
Answer the phone. Listen up. Whenever you hear that click.
Now, on that replay, you saw helmet on helmet.
No flag called. Mixon right back at it. Take one more look at that play, Rob.
Well, Jones, you remember now with the new interpretation, the face part of the helmet, that part, the crown of it, and extending to above the face mask, a helmet-to-helmet hit like that, that is now targeting.
That should have been targeting.
So they missed that one. Yeah, it used to be just the top of the helmet, but you see it's the forehead part of the helmet there that goes head-to-head. That should have been targeted.
By definition. Mayfield hands it off. That was Joe Mixon again. They're using him a lot.
And the reason we have that new interpretation is that Stanford's Francis Owusu got knocked out by a hit like that, and the ruling on the field was that it was not targeting because it wasn't with the very top of the helmet. Stanford's David Shaw complained. They changed the rule within 48 hours. And so now, so long as it is the front part of the helmet from that face mask going back, that's considered the crown.
Because you're still using
your head as a weapon, and that's the part that a lot of coaches say, let's get out of the game. A lot of commentators are saying, let's get that out of the game.
Right. 2nd and 9. That continues to be almost an evolving, fluid situation as they try to make the sport safer.
Oklahoma.
Sooners call their timeout. Now they've got one left. Up by a couple of touchdowns.
Yeah, hard work and dedication, but that's not enough. You look at this cookie cutter copy and paste blah.
ESPN app and watch ESPN. Arkansas trying to bounce back after losing last week against Alabama. Always a very physical game whenever the Hogs line up. And Brett Bielema with that ground and pound attack.
SEC West is not decided yet. Still Alabama with some tough games ahead.
2nd and 9 here for Oklahoma. Mayfield completes a pass. Big hit. Reed knocked it loose, but out of bounds. It'll stay with the Sooners. Reed last week had a pick 6 in that win against Texas Tech. Made the interception, took it 35 yards away.
You're right. These guys are flying around. You think about what the safeties have done today. Adams, 10 tackles. Barnett, 22, and he caused that turnover that last series. So the guys on the back end for Kansas State stepping up just as Reed dared to make some plays. Now on 3rd down, want to roll the dice, bring some pressure, trust those guys on the back end.
Westbrook has been his comfort zone guy, and Mixon made a great spin move to elude harm's way, but will come up short of the 1st down by about 5 yards. picked up 2. Reggie Walker, the guy that was bumping his gums and talking a little bit before the game, making the tackle.
Well, he backed it up this time. They brought him on the blitz, and he runs right through and takes Mayfield and Mixon enough to slow him down, and then gets back on Mixon. So easy. You know, he's got 2 hands. He can fill those hands with 2 players.
Couldn't quite make his mind up. He blew that play up, though. 4th and 5 now for the Sooners. Seibert punting. Fair catch called back at the 15 by Dominique Keith. Wildcats trying to make it 3 in a row, and Walker coming through on that last play. Officials' preparation before the game as Justin Silman with a nice run for the first down. Got about 14, and the officials watch film on Friday and go over the scouting report and meet with the coaches on Saturday pre-game. And talk about some of the nuances of what's to come in the following 60 minutes.
So just don't show up and put on the striped shirt and walk on the field.
I like what most people think. Also review their own game film afterwards. Review their own performance. Zubrin. Van Arendt the referee today, helping us out with our behind-the-scenes inside access look. There's a lot of moving parts in this sport. It's not easy.
The rules alone are not easy.
Giving complete to Burton. Burton stopped up about 3 yards short of the first down. 3rd down coming up. Parker and Jordan Thomas making the stop.
Yeah, Jonesy, we've seen Hubner miss that quick screen pass out to the wide receiver a couple times now. It's been set up with, you know, a blocker out there, and if he gets the ball up enough for his receiver to get it, they've got a chance to get a big play.
3rd and 3. Hubner outside, caught for the first down at the 45 by Dominique Heath. And boy, that was a nice touch on that football by Hubner.
Well, if you're thinking about the 2-possession game now, you're down 14. K-State probably has 2 to 3 more possessions in this game. So if you're Oklahoma, you're thinking about how you squeeze and limit this if you don't get a stop.
Of the 3-2 teams. Kansas State 1-1 in conference play. Oklahoma perfect at 2-0. Stopped up at the 46 is Justin Silman by Jordan Evans. Q.
You worry about Oklahoma and fatigue. We talked about their defensive injuries over the course of the season. 18 different starters. Today playing without 2 starting DNs. They've logged a lot of miles and a lot of high possession, high play games. Let's see how they manage this last 7 minutes and 30 or so seconds, fatigue-wise.
Well, particularly on offense, and see if they really try and bleed the clock a little bit.
About 7.5 minutes to go. Trying to hang on. This is Silman. Brought down right near the line of scrimmage. Jordan Evans, the leading tackler on that defensive unit for the Sooners, limiting K-State to no gain.
You know, Key was talking about this fatigue defense. Well, the depth has been impacted. These are the guys who are out today, but they had 5 guys out last week. They've been banged up, and I think it's the #1 reason why, if they don't win the Big 12, it'll be because of these injuries and how much their defense has struggled.
Trying to get guys healthy and back again. The defensive front has been one of the strengths of the defense. Hubner. Incomplete, intended for Pringle, and broken up nicely by Stephen Parker. 4th down and a good stop for the Sooners defensively.
Well, 6 minutes and 48 seconds. How confident are you that you'll get a couple more possessions?
He's sending his punting unit onto the field.
Well, yeah, Snyder is saying right now by this move and not going for it that he believes his defense can get a 3 and out and get him the ball back.
Going to be the 5th punt of the day for Nick Walsh. Westbrook staying at his own 10-yard line. Calls for the fair catch. Fields it at the 12 with 6:42 to go in the fourth quarter. The Sooners trying to improve to 4-2. 1st and 10 when we come back. Watching that app, watching games.
Well, we've seen others using it as we use it in airports.
We just got to get the airline companies now to stream those games on their wireless so we can get it on the plane. Taking flight, Westbrook from Mayfield. That's how you put a lid on something. Touchdown Sooners. 88 yards.
Well, when you can do that, you don't need to bleed the clock. You just send Westbrook out and have another breakdown in the K-State secondary, and guess what? You've got that 3-score lead again.
And another long touchdown reception from Mayfield to Westbrook. Quickly becoming the most potent pass and catch combination in the conference. 3 consecutive weeks. They have detonated in a big way, Rod.
Well, it's the second time we've seen this today. Really jumping up on the run when you're supposed to be playing the pass, and Westbrook is completely by himself. Safeties and corners really come up thinking, oh, they're going to run the ball, and they completely forget their first responsibility, and Westbrook looks like he's at a track meet all by himself.
A career-long pass and reception. Baker Mayfield looks like he's saying bye-bye to Kansas State's hopes. Last week, Westbrook had 3 touchdown catches in that win against Texas. All of them 40 yards or longer. And look what he's done in the last 3 games now.
Remember, he started the day on the bench.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He had the 2-play penalty. I don't think it was intended to be a 2-play penalty. But
that's one of those things. You learn your lesson, get in the ball game now.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, meanwhile, 24 of 30 passing, 339 yards, 4 touchdowns, and just 1 blemish with that interception. Baker Mayfield, a different kind of personality at quarterback for Oklahoma. When you look at the type of QBs they've had there, personality-wise, going back to Josh Heupel, Jason White, Landry Jones, a little bit more introspective and not quite as outspoken. But Mayfield, he likes to seize the day and have fun in a boisterous way. Let's go back to Adnan in the studio.
All right, thank you, Jones. You want to update you what's happening over at ABC. It's a dogfight between NC State and Clemson. This is Deshaun Watson finally coming through his first rushing touchdown of the year. It's 17-10 after 3. Do not forget, coming up next here on ESPN, Dalvin Cook seeking his 4th straight 100-yard rushing game as he has come on strong after a slow start to the season. The Seminoles are taking on Wake Forest. Kickoff just under 40 minutes from now. Jonesy, back to you.
Hey, Adnan, Dalvin Cook from Miami Central High School, where they play the best high school football in the country down there in Dade County. First down and 10. See if the Wildcats have a response here. Clock working against them with 6.5 minutes to go. Hildner completes it at the 38. Ringo with the catch. Let's go back to the touchdown.
Well, we saw this in the first half. Let's suck up on the run, and then you have Shelley on the outside lose completely Westbrook. He thinks pass and then thinks it's an out and completely loses him, and there is no way you're going to get safety help from the backside on that thing. Westbrook's too fast for that. But again, a fundamental breakdown. 2 long touchdown passes given up by the K-State secondary today.
That was coming from the #1 defense in the conference coming into the game. Nice run by Charles Jones, brought down by Jordan Wade. But yeah, Westbrook with another big day, 184 yards receiving. And you might be looking at the back-to-back winner of the Big 12 Offensive Player of the Week.
Well, he makes such a big difference to this offense. When you load up the box and play man coverage, the risk is he will run by your corner. And he's done that the last 3 weeks.
2nd and 5. To blow this play dead. I'd like to see a foot race. Just 40 yards between Dede Westbrook and Russell Westbrook, who's just down the road in Oklahoma City.
False start. Offense, number 9. 5-yard penalty, second down.
Well, I know which one can dunk better.
Hey, don't sleep on Dede. You know, these wide receivers, Rod, you know, they're pretty dynamic athletes.
Yeah, you can make a pretty good case for Russell Westbrook being one of the best athletes in the country, in the world, you know. But I'm going to go Dede on a football field.
Okay.
Change of direction. I'm going to give Russell the dunks.
I'm just talking about a straight 40.
Yeah. I'm going to take Dede.
I think that went over a little bit. 2nd and 10. Hubner going downfield. Knocked away nicely by Jordan Thomas. Thomas was victimized a little bit earlier today, but well defended that time.
And Thomas gets back, and you'll see him in good position to make this play. So do you think this Oklahoma defense is good enough for them to win the Big 12?
I'll tell you what, it was plenty good enough today against Kansas State. I'm not sure how they hold up against a Baylor, though.
Well, they will see Baylor in November, and that may decide what happens. And a lot of people have already assumed that the Big 12 conference champ will not get into the playoffs. Not clear that's the case.
Hubner downfield, incomplete. Jordan Thomas in the neighborhood intended for Corey Sutton. Let's get back, Rod, to what you were talking about, the Big 12. Interesting times in the conference. The meetings are going to table the expansion discussion for later on. But in terms of the playoff, that's going to happen next year. Still a lot to be determined, though.
Well,
right?
we know that they have a Big 12 championship scheduled for next season. They are in the process of deciding where that will be held. They have requests for proposals out there now to decide which stadium will host that. But if you're thinking about this season, what happens, I'd say right now, the Big 12 is the conference that's on the outside looking into the playoff. If Baylor goes undefeated, I think Baylor is in a tough position because a lot of folks want no part of Baylor in a playoff, considering all the trouble they've had on campus with the sexual assault and lawsuits and the like.
Interesting point. And, you know, we were talking about Westbrook and the day that he's had. Dede Westbrook. More than just today, but the last several weeks, he has been lit, as the kids like to say. We're talking about combustible.
Yeah, I mean, he's really opened up the offense, you know, whether it's on the outside or those slant passes. That was a crossing route. But the last 3 weeks, that's 7 touchdowns over a 3-week period, 8 touchdowns actually, 26 receptions. He's had a season in 3 weeks.
No doubt. 1st and 10, and a nice run by Adams. Quint?
Yeah, Westbrook finally healed from a hamstring injury that was looming during the Ohio State game and the Houston game. He's tight friends with Sterling Shepard, who's now with the New York Giants, and he's really worked on his route running, especially at the top of his routes. Talks about kind of nudging it or pushing off defenders, and he's got his mind on running perfect routes this season. I also see his body as being considerably stronger than it was a year ago.
Yeah, Shepard, a tough guy to replace, Quint. And after this play, Rod, I want to ask you a question about that injury that Q was just referring to. The fact that Westbrook wasn't quite 100% against Ohio State and against Houston in those losses, mixing down to the 25. How much impact do you think the committee might factor that variable in when you start evaluating Oklahoma in the spectrum of the prism of the college football playoff?
I think it's a non-factor unless you have another conference champ. Assuming Oklahoma wins the Big 12, you have another conference champ with 2 losses. If that happens, then you have a comparison and a discussion about the impact of why they lost those 2 games. But until then, it's going to be teams that are undefeated or have 1 loss. I mean, that's what we've seen so far from the committee.
3rd down and 5, 3.5 minutes to go. Pass to the edge and a catch. Good move at the line of scrimmage by Geno Lewis, and he picks up the 1st down, picking up 7. Here's a look at the remaining schedule for Oklahoma. They do get Baylor at home on November the 12th.
Yeah, that's the big one right there. But don't forget, they've got West Virginia, which has played well, and then the big rivalry game.
Bedlam.
Not an easy road, but should they run the table and finish 10-2, they would be sitting there looking for another conference champ to drop a couple games.
Oklahoma pretty prolific today in wake of the win last week against Texas. And West Virginia up 34-10 right now. Mayfield slides in. And, you know, you talk about that Texas-Oklahoma rivalry, and sometimes people think, oh, there's going to be a little bit of a hangover, a letdown after playing Texas. Going back to the Barry Switzer time and Bob Stoops and previous regime, they're 49-3 in the week after the Texas game. So you can pretty much throw out the concept of a hangover.
So you're saying Texas takes nothing out of them?
Yes. Not lately.
Well, yeah, and Bob Stoops said yesterday, he said, we're Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's about more than just Texas. We're supposed to beat everybody.
Yeah, they've got 510 total yards today, partner. 2 minutes to go. And Oklahoma going to improve to 4-2 on the season. K-State will drop to 3-3.
Remember, K-State did not make the postseason last year. And I think the realistic goal for K-State is to get to a bowl game this year. And if Ertz is healthy, and we don't know what his status is, he has not played really the second half after that first throw. But if Ertz is healthy, they still have an opportunity to win enough ball games in the second half of the season to be a postseason, a bowl team.
Yeah, they went 6-7 a season ago in an injury-marred season. Abdul Adams with a nice sprint, a flag down on the field, though.
Holding.
This one's going to come back.
10-yard penalty. Replay, third down.
Oklahoma has led from the opening kick. They've gone wire to wire here. Led 14-0 and never looked back.
Kansas State is behind in the score, and they've elected to start the clock on the snap.
Well, you just had the sense that Kansas State couldn't take advantage of the weakness on Oklahoma's defense. They couldn't throw it and get the big passing plays that they needed. And by the time they were able to get a drive or two going, they were already down. They were already down a couple scores. And there was no margin for error left at that point. And the fundamental breakdowns in the secondary with Westbrook running free by 15 yards, 20 yards, really doomed Kansas State this afternoon.
3rd and 18. Adams again going to try it. Brought down by Jordan Willis. And Oklahoma's offense with over 500 total yards there.
And you mentioned the Big 12 having meetings on Monday to talk about a number of issues. A lot of people assumed there would be some sort of announcement coming on Monday about expansion. The latest rumors out there suggest that that's not going to be the case, that they may table the expansion.
Who do you think
issue.
is a good fit potentially for this conference?
Well, from a football perspective, it's certainly Houston. But this is more than just football. This is about money and how the Big 12 gets enough dollars to make it worth their while to add another team. And I don't think anyone brings them the kind of money that they want. But if it's just football and what happens on the field and recruiting, you bring Houston in. Maybe you bring Cincinnati in. I don't know.
There's been a little bit of talk about BYU on the fringes too, right?
I think that's complicated. I think from a football standpoint, it makes sense. But the fact that BYU does not, play on Sundays, the fact that they have some issues in their handbook, their code of conduct, which are considered to be discriminatory, that's a problem for the Big 12. So I think BYU is more problematic than some of the other schools that they'd be considering.
4th down and 16 now with 28 seconds to go.
But I wouldn't be surprised to see the Big 12 stand pat and have 10 teams going into next season for their championship game.
Oklahoma are 7-time national champions. When you think about the lineage of great football players that have played here. Talked about the Selman brothers, Billy Sims, Joe Washington. One of my favorite quarterbacks of all time in college football, Jamel Holloway. Real wizard running that wishbone for Barry Switzer. And my favorite shot of Jamel Holloway, I'll always remember a picture of him on the sidelines wearing Barry Switzer's fur coat during a game. I mean, that's swag before we were talking about swag. You know?
Hear you. But you can't drop a little J.C. Watts?
Okay.
No Jack Mildren?
Yeah. Oh,
you know?
J.C., yep. Meanwhile, Florida State, Wake Forest coming up next as the Seminoles look to capitalize on their big win against Miami last week. Nobody going to mention the boss?
I was waiting for you to go there. There is no boss without Bo Jackson anymore.
38-17, the final score. Oklahoma improving to 4-2. And Baker Mayfield putting up some good numbers again. 25 of 31 passing. You talk about efficiency. As Stoops and Snyder leading at midfield. Former partners.